I start off with either a round blank or a half log. I've been convinced to start off with a circle. Frank has some of these for sale, and they've been edge sealed, so they're pretty much ready to go. I start off by just putting a hole in the center for a woodworm screw. That's what I'll do. I just take a drill a hole, 3/8 hole for the woodworm. Whoa, horsey.
The center of that.
What's the best? Oh, by the way, is $100 the right price, Frank?
Yes. Yes.
Somebody added a zero to that, I think. But you can take a compass and swing 3 arcs, and the center of those little pattern is going to be the center of the bowl, blank. Usually when they're cut round like this, there's going to be a center because you have a little nail that you put in the cardboard or the plastic. But center is easy to find if you have a just a chunk of wood. You can go from corner to corner, and where they meet is if it's a symmetrical piece. If not, you got to pick out the short dimension and make 2 lines. Where they meet, that's the center. So we're just going to screw this on here. I'm sure all of you pretty much tried to make bowls, but this is the easiest way I've found. That one's a little bit off. Now you can bring the center up, but with a 4-inch chuck jaws, you know, it's pretty secure with the one-way with the one-way woodworm screw. And we're just going to start carving away to get the basic. Well, we're going to rough out the outside. We're going to rough out the outside, put a tenon on it, or and turn it around on the chuck and do the inside. Okay. But can you hear me okay with this? Okay. With this, when you're roughing, of course you stay on the bevel, you keep the butt of the tool against your body. And everything is with the right hand. What the left hand does is just hold the tool down on the tool rest. It's not quite round yet. But we're moving our body with the tool, so the tool stays against our hip. I try to do first. This isn't completely round near the rim, but we'll get there. But there was a question, I didn't hear it. No? Okay. We could go ahead and get that rim now. So we try to get it in a rough round shape as early as we can because we can increase the speed. Got a little flat there, a couple little flats. Now towards the end of this rim cut, if you tilt the tool a little bit towards vertical, you get away from this rim thing flying off and hitting something like you. And try to true up the bottom here. push cutter. You can use a 2-inch tenon, 2 3/4 inset. You can use a this set of jaws here is 3.5 tenon, or about a 4 1/8 inset, but
Is that a bowl gouge or a spindle gouge? It looks kind of pointy.
that would be a bowl gouge.
Okay, thank you.
So that was a little small. We'll go out to about here. Something like that. That's going to be the tenon. So these jaws, so 3/8 of an inch out from that is where we're going to, where the bottom of the jaw will be. Of course, there's a lot of ways to form the tenon. I prefer to just push the gouge in. This is a 3/4 inch bowl gouge, straight wings. So our jaws are 3/8. We can put a mark there. That's a little small. I think I'm going to have, that's a little small for my taste. I'm going to go out to a 2-inch. That was caused by not marking the center.
Steve, you're just changing to different jaws? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
that came up is, do you generally use tailstock support when you're doing this or not?
I don't with the woodworm screw on a bowl this small. But probably wouldn't be a bad idea, but I just have confidence doing this. So when you make these changes, you're making all
You were losing your sound a lot. You're cutting out.
Is that better?
Yes. So far, we'll see whether you cut out or not.
Okay. I was just saying, when you go on the outside of a bowl, all the motions are with the right hand. You know, the worst mistake you can make, I think, as a turner is you getting your left hand involved in it. Left hand just holds the tool down on the rest. The right hand does the push, the lift or drop, the swing, and the push, lift, twist, and swing. 4 motions, but they have in order to make a smooth curve. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to need to change jaws. So make sure I'm not going to have to start over completely. That's good. It's getting noticeably cooler here. Well, remember we're on a woodworm screw, so we have to turn this thing off here.
Angle your gouge is around 60.
I shoot for 60, but anything between 55 and 60 works. Some good turners. I consider myself just kind of a beginner. Go 40 to 40, 45, 48, somewhere in there. But the reason I use it somewhere 55 and 60 is because I can go all the way from the rim to the center of the inside in one motion. So. Like I say, I apologize for if I wouldn't have messed up made that tenon a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch too small, I wouldn't have to change these jaws, but that's good. I got a dovetail on it. You got the serrated jaws? This will be all right. Easy. Won't fall any farther.
It's like you use the antices on the screws. That's good.
It won't fall any farther, I'll tell you that. I'll just go ahead with her since I'm so far along. Thanks, Frank. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I should get your chuck. One. Wish I'd have cleaned these off now. There it is. You talk about lucky. Be a little more careful this time. You notice the jaws are marked usually. It's best to maintain a good circle if you put them back in the same spot. The way they were cut during the machining process gives you the best hold. Right? Paint dry. Yeah, when you drop another screw, that'd be good. I can't believe I got those back. Loose. Tighten one. And bring them up snug. So then they form that circle a little bit better. There it is. You can feel them tighten up. I mean, come flush when you... Okay. Now, a lot of really good turners, but I like to just put a depth hole so that I don't make a funnel out of this poor thing. We'll go to the top of the cuts. That'll do it. Get in there. Yeah. And we can switch tools, use the same tool. Take this center. Small bowl. Start with a really low. A half or 5/8, probably 5/8, and then there's not that much over. Let's probably stick with the 5/8. It is a long 5/8 though. Since we've already established the bottom, it doesn't matter if we take some and trim this top off. It's a little high. Again, it's just a pull cut all the way to the rim. Doesn't have to be flat, but usually you'll find that you had a little bit of that's cool. You now come to the part where people out the inside. Worst mistake I make is to stand parallel to the lathe, because the tool runs into your body and you can't really make a good cut. I stand with my left foot way back. I'm going to start by replicating the outside that you want. Start carving it out. It's important to start the tool on with the flute vertical so that you don't get the skating. If you don't, it'll go like that. It wants to go sideways. So we just come over and start in. And again, it's a lift, a push, a twist, and a swing. Constant swing to give you the inside curve. Wood only wants a certain amount. The exceed comes off the cut.
Steve, you're still cutting out quite a bit. Can you repeat that, please?
Well, I was just saying that if you exceed what the wood wants in terms of push, the objection that the wood has is it rejects the tool. It pushes the tool off the cut, so the tool starts bouncing, and that's when I see folks have some trouble. So patience helps. Also helps not to rest your hand on the post, because that keeps the tip of the tool from doing what stay on the bevel. So you start to cut, and another thing is I start with comfort. when I start, but I'm always working towards comfort. It's really the only good way to make a way to the center. So as soon as you establish the cut, move your hand back, turn the tool a little bit, and just stay on the bevel till you get to the center. Push, swing, tilt. So now you can make a series of cuts. Let's say we're just roughing. So what we're shooting for is for the thickness that you want your rough to be, and to match the thickness at the bottom of the hole. So I know it was about, I don't know, 5/8 of an inch that I left at the bottom of the hole. The more meat you leave in the center, the better supported you are making these cuts out here. So what we do, we can poke the thing all the way into the bottom, put our thumb right there, so that's how we have to go. So I've got a little bit more to take out of the bottom than I do the rim. Well, you can see some water here. This was just cut today. No, this was the stuff you cut the other day. So around here. Our rough, we're going to rough this out, let it sit for a week or two till it dries out some. So you can start the tool off of the vertical here because you got a shelf already established for the tool to ride on. We've only got that much to go. That's still. Yeah, it's still pretty sharp. Sure, it makes all the difference. Well, the heck is that? Oh, I put it up here someplace. Little caliper. So it's still a little thick at the bottom. So there's the bottom. Put your thumb there. Well, we got an inch the tenon. So I stopped the drill a little bit early. And the motion, the motion as you're going in is the only killer move is to try to move the hand, because if you go this way or off the cut, can you hear me?
We lost most of that, Steve.
The biggest mistake you can make is trying to affect the path of the tool with the left hand. Because if you push this way, you're off the cut. And if you pull this way a little bit, it doesn't take much, the tip digs in and it just makes big lines. So get a smooth cut, you have to stay on. You just are patient with the way the tool is going in towards the center. I usually start a little bit high, but I'm always going towards the center of rotation with the tip. So when you're doing this kind of a cut, and you've already got the you want, and you're starting downstream, you're on the heel a little bit until just as the cut barely starts, then you start pushing in, maintaining the bevel. So we're not quite deep enough yet. That's probably about where we're going to be here. Yeah, I like that. Now, if you're going to set or put it in a paper bag or something, you break this edge. And the way that you just hold the bottom edge of the flute, you round over that corner, so because that's where the crack starts. So that's a rough bowl. I'm happy with that. There's no tear out on the inside or the outside. So that's a roughed out bowl. And you have any questions about that? I prefer a slight undercut as I go in, because I like that shadow line that I get. And you start it with the rough. So, and the shape is okay. It's a continuous curve. Got a little bump near the edge here. That's plenty rough. No questions? Everybody knows how to do that?
Remember to unmute yourselves if you have a question.
Yes. That's cool. So this one is a couple weeks old, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. It's the same kind of a thing. And now, my normal procedure here would be to put this in the chuck, to true up the inside, put it in a vacuum chuck, redo the tenon, because it's going to be a little bit wobbly usually, and then turn it back around and chuck, turn the inside, sand it, finish it, then put it in the vacuum chuck. Meanwhile, when I true up the tenon, I would put a center. I usually don't do that in the rough, but and there's lots of ways to do that, you know. To actually that one's actually running fairly well.
Moisture content.
Between 15 and 20. I don't know, something like that. Okay.
Is it Norfolk Island pine again?
It is. It is. Yeah. $14.9 there. 17 on the inside. There. As usual, the rim. Yeah, see, that's only 13.5. So, finish. I don't know how to turn it off, Frankie. Just let it go. We're going to make a shelf on the inside to put a bigger jaw set on. Really not bad though. Well, and there's some. Like I say, the whole purpose here is to just get a good tenon. Actually, a better way to do this. Should be close. I usually use a small gouge to true this up. It's pretty good. Also, at this point, it's best to what did I do with the live center, Frank?
Steve, what's holding that wood?
The jaws of the chuck. They're in expansion mode. So we that shelf we made. Looks like I'm missing a live center, Frank. Live center. Yeah, but I brought one. There it is. I just want to make sure I didn't have it come up missing. It's not going to be effective unless I do that.
Can you give a little commentary on what you're doing, Steve?
I'm burning the center in so that I can see it later on. Yeah, I want it to stop. It seems like a lot of trouble, but it's the best way I've found to get it to run true every time when you put it back in the other chuck. Now you can take your chances, but you know, wobble's a killer. Wobble, especially soft wood, a wobble tends to make the wood yield, and now the tenon is never going to be square and a good tenon. You can see that shoulder there. That's what allowed us to the tenon. Much reflection off of the glue and stuff that's built up on the inside of that face shield. That was our ship. See, we didn't have much wobble at the at the rim, but in that transition area down there, from the side to the bottom, there was some warpage. Must be a knot down there too. Yep, there he is. It's a good solid knot. You really have to decide what you want for a thickness. I think we are getting some flutter here. So I'm going to try a shear cut along this outside and try to true that up before I go for the final thickness of the rim. This cut, hold the tool against your hip in the bevel. Your index finger and thumb against the bubble there. And this cut. And here you're moving your body because the tool has to stay against your hip. So it's in the knees. Pretty much trued it up. They rag up this edge when you do that. So okay. What did I do? There it is. Now we're measuring see where the bottom is. So half inch bottom, and I got a quarter inch rim. So that's okay. Now see this guy here? You get a nub in the bottom. It off pretty good there. But I got this line right there. I have to clean that up. And you can take your flat ground at the bottom here and turn her up. Got to drop the rest a little bit. Now, do we have Jim? Sleep, huh?
It was on mute. It's 10 after 8.
And after 8. What time do we want to end?
5:30 for sure.
Okay. We won't finish it, but we'll sand the inside. That's not bad, though. It is, I already took it out. Easiest way I found to sand these things is with this fest tool. You just have to judge where you start with the grit. You'll have some tear out or some rough grain. Two areas of end grain. You got side grain all the way around here, which is usually not a problem. See what we got on here. 180. Well, I'll probably start with some 120 on that end. Sorry.
What size sanding disc is on there, and is that air driven or electric?
Yes. Well, it's got suction to take the dust away. But it's an air. I mean, it's a 110. I'm
Is that a 5-inch dip? 3 or what?
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. This unit? Oh, he wants wants to see that. This is a noisy sucker, so I apologize. If it wasn't so effective, I wouldn't use it. Probably on this one's kind of rough on the inside. I'd probably go from 120 to 180. This sander is also got a random, which is, it doesn't, it's very, very light. So it's kind of equivalent to roughing and a finish gouge operation, really. And then, you know, my finishing is rough and ready. I mean, I just and polish and that's it. No, that's just sanded the. It's not. It's the equivalent of about 1100, 11 to 1200, I think they say. This Triple E Ultra Shine, which I like. Comes out of Australia. On the inside or on the surface, whatever surface. But you don't want it to be heavy because if it starts streaking, it's very difficult to get all the gloppiness out. Light on. I should have touched that rim. Hey. You don't want to leave any sharp edges on your bowl. When you get a coating on it, you can use a rag. Now this doesn't make a shiny finish like black 408, but sanding and finishing is not my favorite part of this process. Even though I know I appreciate your work more, I suppose. Some people.
What speed are you running at?
3. This doesn't have a readout, so 700. I like 1,000 better. You need to build up just a little heat you can feel through your fingers and the finish. But you don't want it to burn, but you do want a little bit of heat. So it sounds like that's probably, what is that, 20 after, James?
Yes.
So that's the inside, and I would just turn it around, and typically I would use a vacuum chuck to get rid of that tenon and to finish the outside, because this is still just rough on the outside. So that, or I'll run over doing that. But anyway, that's.
We also make another product that goes on top of this. I can't remember.
Yeah, they do, but I don't use it. It's more of a liquid, and it just makes it shinier. But I like kind of a matte finish. That's just a personal preference. If you like this a bit shinier, it isn't that much shinier, but it is a little bit.
Okay.
I forget what it's
The
called.
other thing is a friction polish.
This is a friction polish, Triple E. cut and polish wax for turners and restorers.
Yeah, but I don't believe that's actually called a friction polish. The other thing that goes on it is a friction polish, which gives it a higher shine.
Okay. Cut and polish, so I figured it was just a friction polish. Okay. So, yeah. No question now. No. The main thing with this, with turning this, especially soft pine, is patience. You can't push the tool faster than the wood wants to cut because you're just asking for problems.
Steve?
Yep.
What alternative do you have if you don't have a vacuum chuck?
Chuck. Yeah, you just turn it on a jam chuck and use your live center. And when you get the bottom where you want it, just just cut off the nub with a chisel or whatever. You can sand it off usually if you get it to a real small nub. It's a good way to do it too. Yep. Made quite a mess here, Frank, for one bowl. Hope you have your hometown or destination, folks.
In lieu of a vacuum chuck, could you use soft jaws?
Soft jaws. I guess I don't know what that is.
Nobody's talking.
I don't either.
It's up on the wall there to your right, up on the wall over the door. Over the stained glass door, it's over the top of the
Yeah, cold jaws, those are called.
cold jaws. Okay.
Yeah. I use those on flat, wide pieces, but I don't use cold because you got too much outboard, and they tend to distort, because, especially with a 1/4-inch rim. You have eight feet, but they're pushing in. You don't have full support of the rim, so you're gonna push in, especially this soft wood. So, yeah. Good question though. I got a set that I use for flat things typically, where you got a lot of support. You have doesn't distort shape. Good question though, Charlie. Anything else, folks?
Well, I asked that because a lot of people don't have vacuum chucks.
Same.
Are you going to talk about any other drying methods?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how long you want to take. You can use the beads.
How long is it? If you put that bowl in the beads, how long would you have to put it in for?
Frank's the one to answer that. I don't use them.
That thin, probably overnight's going to get it down to less than 10%.
Yeah, this is pretty thin. This is about a 1/4-inch. Well, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish the back side, but I would go for a 1/4 inch overall and about a 3/8. What kind of treatment you want to do on the foot. But yeah, this thin, I would say, yeah, silica gel or whatever that stuff is dries it pretty quick.
You think it would have to be about 12 hours?
No, I've never used them. Frank says overnight, so yeah, that's the ballpark.
Quite variable.
In there and check it after 12 hours or whatever, and see what the moisture content is, and until you get to where you want to be. Short of cracking the darn thing. Yeah, sure. what I do with these typically rough one, I'll put it in a paper bag, sometimes with sometimes not, depending on the wood. Leave it a week and change the bag out because the bag's going to be fairly saturated. It'll be moist. Change it out to a dry bag and give it another week and see where you are. Usually that's enough though. This one I think was, oh, it's on that end grain. Comes out the end grain. That's all I've got, gentlemen.
Very much. I think it was great.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
We didn't blow her up this time anyway.
Hey guys, I just want to appeal to you to answer the survey that Charlie Bell sent out, and then let's see you in a couple of weeks when we watch Mike Mahoney. See you then. Thanks for coming.